I got the horse.
Hello racing fans and welcome to another edition of Handicappers Corner brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Friday, August 24th races at Hastings Racecourse, as well as touch quickly on the Canadian Derby, which will be run tomorrow, Saturday, August 25th at Northlands Park, featuring the local Devil in Disguise, ridden by Mario Gutierrez. There's lots of there's lots of interest on the Northlands card with many stakes races and many local horses running.
Yeah, there's lots. Dave Forrester has Heidi Maria,
Madeira Park,
and Senior Rojo running against Commander. Commander's favorite in that race. Senior Rojo will be second choice. Madeira Park's favorite in her race. Yeah. Heidi Maria will be favorite in her race. Overvalued was supposed to run in that race. She's come up with a problem foot or something, so she's scratched. Heidi Maria looks like they're really tough in there. And of course, Devil in Disguise. Wait till you see the form in this race. He really looks like a standout in the Canadian Derby.
Won by a length and 3/4, could have been 10 and 3/4.
Exactly, and there's a couple coming from Toronto. Those look like his main threat, but he still just looks like an absolute standout. I think it's been a while since we've seen this kind of favorite in the Canadian Derby.
Yeah, no, the race came up light. It didn't come with the big Toronto shippers or anything from Washington
a couple years we've
California.
seen horses
when it was 300, they would come.
Yeah.
But 200, I guess everyone kind of stayed home, and I think Devil in Disguise. Yeah, Devil in Disguise will be definitely a heavy favorite. Let's get on to the Friday afternoon program. Once again, 3:20 post this Friday, August the 24th for Hastings. We'll go on to the first race. Got a field of 9 maiden 20 granders, 2-year-olds going 3.5 furlongs. I'm heading down to the inside of the 1 Pineapple. I thought a good run going 2 turns, setting a very fast pace before tiring late. But he only has to negotiate 1 turn, or she only has to negotiate 1 turn. The daughter of Forestry, definitely bred to be very fast, and she is. She had a runner-up effort to Bridge Jumper, a very nice colt out of the Troy Taylor barn. That was a good second that day. I think a repeat of that race gets her the money. I put the 2 Serendipity Grove in for second. Looks like Pedro had his choice of those 2, the 1 and 2, and he's gone to Pineapple. And I put the 3-horse Sun Soleil out of the Robbie Anderson barn. And the mare Wicca was very fast, and a lot of her foals are quite quick. And the Sun Gold's been a very nice young sire with his limited opportunities, but this one looks like it's been working well. I went 1, 2, 3.
Nice and easy.
Easy as 1, 2, 3.
I got the same top 2. I really like Pineapple in here. As you mentioned, second to Bridge Jumper. Bridge Jumper is kind of gone by the wayside. The 2-year-old year is getting shitty in that. They've turned him out. If he was still around, he'd be the best 2-year-old in the grounds. She ran a really bang-up second to him. Came back in that Prohibiting Lord Harlow, Proud Victor race.
It's the boys again.
I guess the boys, yeah, she was leading, and something kind of happened in the turn, kind of just before turning for home, and she ended up getting out. Yeah, something kind of went wrong with her that day. Dino's give her some time off, brings her back. She's freshened up. Pedro sticks with her. I think all signals are go. I agree with you, Serendipity Grove. I have in the second spot. Nancy Betts' horse. Pedro looks like he elected to go with the 1 instead. And for a flyer, I took the 5-horse, the Tac Inouye barn. Tac's had a good year with his 2-year-olds. Little Miss Bean. Amadeo Perez, the leading rider, had some options in here. He goes with Tac, so it's good enough for me. I went 1, 2, and 5 in a good 9-horse field to start off the Friday card. On to the second, 4,000 non-2 for older boys. 3-year-old and up boys, I should say. And this one I went to the rail. I went to Amadeo Perez again, speaking of Amadeo. The 1 Ton of Pride out of the Harold Barrowby barn. He ran in a 5,000 3-year-old race, 2 back going long, ran a bang-up second to Halo's Quest. Off of that, Harold looking for a long race, couldn't find a long race, ran it for 15. It was a really tough race at Stormy Bob, Royal Victor, Mazel Print, Friar Tuck. A bunch of those kind of $15,000 horses were in there. It was quite a jump. Now he drops down to the 4 non-2. I think he fits really good in here. Amadeo hops aboard. I like him at the 1. The second spot, I have another horse that's a bit of a distance specialist, Country Cash. 2 good seconds in here to Finally Proud and Minstrel's Time, an older horse. Then he went in the endurance race against Super Steve, Roses for Ben. It was a lot to ask, especially for a 3-year-old. Now he goes in the non-2 $4,000 level. I like him. Reyes, who's had some success on this horse, a couple seconds, gets back aboard him. And in the third spot, I put Macho Keto, a horse who ran 4th in this race, a couple starts back, was claimed out of that race. Jim Brown ran him for 7,500 against 3-year-olds, ran a good second. Now drops down to that 4 non-2 level, going long. This horse likes distance. Broke his maiden for 20 going long earlier in the meet. I have him in 3rd, 1, 7, and 9.
Yeah, I see a lot of pace in here. One thing about this race, it looks like the 3 Wander About You, the 4 Fun Deal, the 6 Gentleman Ben. I think there's going to be an honest pace in here. Yeah. I'm going to go to the 7 Country Cash. I like this horse. He was a good second to Finally Proud going long. He was a good second to Minstrel's Time, who was dropping. I thought that race was very strong because he ran against some very slow fractions and still managed to get up for the runner-up spot ahead of Stormy Bob,
who came back to win
for 15 G's. So. And then he tried the marathons, and he wasn't disgraced. Those are tough horses, Super Steve, Mr. Cooper, and Roses for
really
Ben.
tough,
those are seasoned horses.
Yeah.
For a conditioned horse there's only won 1 race in his life. Those horses have won multiple races, 7, 8 races. That's a tough race for him. He gets back in a way better spot. Country Cash for me looks the best. Up at the 9 Macho Quito, as you mentioned, sprinted him last time, but he ran a good race. But he's definitely a better distance horse, and I think he'll appreciate the fast pace that's likely going to be set in here. So I went with 7, 9, and I put the 6 horse, Gentleman Ben. I don't know if he's might be the best of the speed horses. He may go the farthest. He went some tough fractions against Tommy DeHorsey last time. That was unlucky to run into him for 4,000. He was another pricier horse that was dropping in class. But his route races this year have been pretty good. Second to Lucava. He's always had to dispute the pace, and I thought he's fought on well. So I think he will do the best out of Wander About You and Fun Deal, who will be going with him. But I definitely like the 7 and 9. I went 7, 9, and 6 in this afternoon's second race. On to the third race, the first of 2 stakes races on the program. This is the CTHS Sales Stakes for the 2-year-old fillies, going 6.5 furlongs. Definitely the 1 horse Bamboo Dream is going to be a prohibitive favorite here off of her win at 9 to 1 on BC Cup Day in the debutante. She closed up brilliantly on the outside. There was a big field that day of 10, and she was last and made this big sweeping run. But I'm going to try and beat her in this small field with the 2 horse Tempered Steel. She ran 4th in her first up run to Bamboo Dream, who'd had a couple of races under her belt. I thought it was a better than looked race. Then she kind of learned from that race. She broke better. She did a lot of things better, except she clipped heels midway on the stretch turn. I thought she was going to win or be very close to Stormenford Becca, who we'll watch run later on in the card, who I know we both select in the Colts and Geldings CTHS Sales Stake. So Tempered Steel was going well before clipping heels, and I just got to give this horse a big shot. If anyone's going to beat Bamboo Dream, it's going to be maybe the 2 horse Tempered Steel. I put the 6 horse I Want to Duster in for third. Really didn't get the best of trips on BC Cup Day. Anytime you have 10 2-year-olds in a race going 6.5 furlongs, there generally can be some chaos going on, and definitely there was. And she needs a cleaner trip, and maybe she'll get one. She's got a little bit, 3, 4, and 5 are a little inexperienced, and perhaps she might be able to clear and maybe even get the lead. I don't know, but with no likely strong pace in here like Bamboo Dream got that day. I just think she may be vulnerable. She may be vulnerable.
Yeah, that was the day. That's the race we talked about.
That's the Officer's Charm race.
The 44 flat race.
That was ridiculous, but she took full advantage and won the money. You don't see too many horses close from 10 lengths out of it at the head of the lane to win by 2.
Exactly.
Almost 2 lengths. You don't make it 12 lengths on a pace setter very often. But I went 2, 1, and 6. I'm going to give Tempered Steel a shot for the Night and Day stable, and John Todd, Brian O'Connell.
What worries me about the 2, this is why I don't have the 2 in my selection, is I've seen horses that have gone down in spills before, and they never seem to come back the same. And being a young horse, I think that just might...
The horse didn't go down. That was a good thing. The rider went down.
Or the rider went down, sorry. But
the horse did clip heels, and it was very,
That's
it's
right,
weird.
But he was kind of a mess, so I'm wondering how that will affect the young horse. I put Bamboo Dream on top. She's going to be the heavy favorite. Yeah, she had a lot of pace to run it the last time, and she is a deep closer, which could hurt her in here, but I just think she's the class of the race. The second spot, I put I Want to Duster, horse you had there out of the Lenore Dubois barn. Very nicely bred little filly. She's a half to...
Excited Miss.
Excited Miss, but to them.
Former champion.
That's right. So I've heard third spot, and the third spot I put one of the Craig McPherson barn, Kyrie's Gal, who was in the day that Bamboo Dream broke her maiden. She was in that race. She stumbled badly at the start. A lot of things didn't really go her way, and then she got on track and started running. So Craig's no fool. If he put her in here, he thinks she's got a shot. So I have her in third spot. I won 6 and 4. And on to the fourth race, Fillies and Mares Maiden 5,000, and I've gone way near the outside.
There's 11 in
There's
here.
11
There's
in
3
here.
11-horse fields. You know, if everything's barring scratches, there's 3 11-horse fields.
So a lot of action. Get some good prices, some good exotic wagers. I went to Private Sally Wilson. This is a horse that Stevie thought enough of early in the year. They were running her for maiden 20s, maiden 10s. She was always seemed to be right there. Always seemed to run into a tough horse in some of those, like Telus Ridge, Clarice B, Tenzel, Spring into Fashion. Now she drops down to the $5,000 level. I think she fits cozy in here. Richard Hamill takes the call. I think that makes her pretty tough. The second spot, I put a horse taking a big drop, Finally Sarah. Tavis York is down as trainer this time out. Been running, they thought enough of her to run in for maiden special weight. Drops down to maiden 5, gets lead rider Amadeo Perez. A lot of things to like going that way, so I have her in second. And in third spot, the little filly just keeps knocking on the door in these Buffalo Babe. 2 seconds for maiden 3,000. There wasn't a maiden 3,000, hasn't come up. Barb puts her in the maiden 5. I don't think it's going to be that much tougher. She's right in the hunt. I have her in third.
Yeah, I got the same 3 horses. I went to Buffalo Babe on top. I think she's the best of the speed. I think she's faster than anyone in here. I think her runner-up effort to All Roses there, which she sat off of 22-1, 46 flat. I thought that was a good race. And now that she's had a mile and a 16th race under her belt, might stretch her out a little more. She might be able to find the line going 6.5 furlongs. I put the 7-horse Finally Sarah in for second. Pretty much a horse that's been everywhere. Started out her career from maiden 3,000, went to 10, to 40, to 20, now to 5. Kind of hit every. She's the only one that's hit like every maiden claimer. She's hit every. That's right, every maiden claimer, and she's only had the one good run when she was second to Naughty Librarian there in a not a very fast heat, but I think she may get overbet on the class drop. She's all right. And a horse, I wouldn't be surprised if she won, but I'm not prepared to take 9-5 or 2-1 on her, even in this kind of race, because she's not speed. And then you're going to get an 11-horse field with some. There could be some troubles going on, and you don't want to be taking 8-5, 9-5 on a horse that it doesn't really pass.
She does, look like she's going to need a perfect kind of trip to get her maiden breaker.
And I put the 9 Private Sally Wilson in for third. A horse that had a good chance last time, was on a slow pace, 22-4, 47 flat, didn't run on. But those are 2 better fillies, I think, Spring into Fashion and Orchid's Pepper. But she does drop in here for 5, gets Richard Hamill. So a decent work since the race 2 and 48-4. So it definitely signals that everything's going okay with her. But still just a horse. Nothing flashy about Private Sally Wilson. I think she's maybe one of those horses wherever you run her, she's going to run 4th or 3rd.
Run just, 3rd for maiden special weight or 3rd for maiden
3rd for maiden 3 or 5. But I've gone 10, 7, and 9. Those look like the 3 horses in here. Really had to struggle to find a 4th horse, but I went 10, 7, and 9 in the 4th race. On to the 5th. Got some non-2-4s in here going 6.5 furlongs. Another field of 11. I'm going to go to the 3 Dog Rock. It seems like he runs every week. He's been a pretty busy guy since July 1st. This will be his 6th start since July 1st. That's pretty good. If you want to own a horse, own a non-2-4,000 that gets that doesn't win, that runs 2nd and 3rd a lot, because you'll get to see your horse run quite often. And Dog Rock, I think, finally may find a field that he can beat. Looks like there's going to be some speed in here. You've got Mass Mailing, who's a very legitimate horse. You got the 1 JJ's Gypsy, the 6 Blood and Diamond wants to fly, even the 5 No More Drama, Fat Cat. There's an Escowin. There's a lot of speed in here, and I just think Dog Rock might be the day for him. I know it's 11 horses. You're taking chalk, kind of going against what I said in the last race. When you're taking chalk in an 11-horse field that comes from out of it, it can be very dangerous. But I'm going to go to him to win it. I put the 4 Mass Mailing in for second. Been in sharp form. Had to go a little too fast last time. Ran into a good one in Tommy DeHorsey. Those 2 are interchangeable for me, the 3 and 4. I think they're very comparable in ability. And I put the 6 Blood and Diamond. Had a win up in Vernon with former trainer Andrea Cookshank, rode it that day, so she just got to give up your trainer's license when you're a jock. But Blood and Diamond, some of his races are good enough to defeat this field as well. So I went 3, 4, and 6.
I agree with Dog Rock. The horses he's run into in this condition, he's been kind of unlucky. He's, Brandon's Courage, nice little horse. Tommy DeHorsey taking the big drop down. Ran second to him last time. Vidi Vidi Vici, very fast horse when they tried him for the 3.5. Quattro's Raider, a horse that was on a roll at that time.
Yeah, he took that a nice horse.
So he's for the non-2-4 level, he keeps getting beat by solid little horses. I don't see anybody that tough in here today. I have him on top. The second spot I put Shingan Bolt. I went to the 10 hole way out there. Patty Leaney, Amadeo Perez. They're hooking up a few times today, like in the 2-year-old filly stake. Nice maiden breaker for 10. Then she put her up for 15,000. It was a little bit too much with Him running into Lord Henry, Canucks Roar with Council, those kind of horses. It was a tough race. Now he drops into the non-2-4 level. Nobody like that in here, so I like him. And in the third spot, I put Fat Cat Diplomat on the Cindy Krasner barn. A horse that just keeps improving. Every race he's ran this year, he's gotten better, gotten a little more pro. He was pretty green at the start. He just seems to be putting it together, so he's moving in the right direction. So I'll give him the nod for the third spot. I went 3, 10, and 7. Moving right along to the 6th.
The co-feature here.
The co-feature, yeah, this is a good race. Optional 40 for 3-year-olds and up, colts and geldings. And I have gone to the horse that just won this race, the 5 Crew Leader. Classy old veteran, won a lot of races here at Hastings. He was a earlier Darley purchase for Swift. He came in one of the earlier packages, and he's been kind of a star of one of those packages. Real tough horse here. Crew Leader runs second in the Derby here. Won a stake here last year, the SW Randall. Couldn't quite keep up with Stakes Company this year, so Dino's found him in this optional 40 allowance-y type level, and he fits like a glove. Won the last one. Just a nose over 3 Wood, who I have in the second spot. Crew Leader ran in that race, got a little break, comes back fresh, whereas 3 Wood ran in that race, got beat a nose. Then he came back and hooked into Herbie D, probably the best sprinter on the grounds here. Very fast horse out of the Gilker barn, Herbie D. So he comes back off of that. That race might have taken a little out of him trying to catch Herbie D. He does get Amadeo Perez back, who has had the most success on this horse. I see it kind of a coin toss between those two. Those are the two tough ones in here, Crew Leader and 3 Wood. I gave the nod to Crew Leader. And the third spot, nice little horse, Franzer's Finest, out of the Phil Hall barn, one that's been knocking on the door here. He ran third in the last time that those top 2 hooked up. He ran third in that race after winning a $25,000 race over a tough Tommy Danziger. I'll give him the nod for the third spot. So 5, 6, 1 for me.
Yeah, I've got the same 3 horses exactly. A Crew Leader got the nice win over 3 Wood, but there's not much between those 2 horses. There's equal
Amadeo
weights.
could kind of make a little difference there too.
Yeah, the pace scenario, I'm a little concerned with the pace scenario for 3 Wood, but perhaps Amadeo can get 3 Wood and lay a little bit closer. The Crew Leader has a big tactical advantage, and I think that may be able to get the job done for him. It was by far his best race of the season. At least he's turning things around. He kind of had a tough start to the year, inexplicably too. He seemed to be working well going into the George Royal.
Look great,
just things have been, he's had a tough go. Had to get back into those allowance races. Was offered for $40,000 even 2 starts back, and ran a good race and against Herbie D to run third. Kind of woke him up. I think it got him on the right track. But a nice win over 3 Wood last time. But those 2, there's not much between them. The weights are the same. They're both packing 118, but Crew Leader has the tactical advantage, and that may be the difference. And I put the 1 horse, Franzer's Finest, in for third. He's been sharp for Phil Hall and Praven Sorensen, who's a friend of the show.
Absolutely.
And, good to see Franzer's Finest turn it around and win a second and a third in his last 3 starts. But that was a good run against
tough horses,
he's not that far behind Crew Leader and 3 Wood. He showed it that day, and it looks like those 3 on paper, but I went 5, 6, and 1. On to the 7th race, another stakes race on the program. This is for 2-year-old colts and geldings, the CTHS Sales Stakes for graduates of the last year's yearling sale. Got a field of 10 scheduled to go postward, 6.5 furlongs. Kicking off your late daily double. I'm going to go with the 4-horse Stormin' for Becca. Cost a lot of money for the Shaws, the LDS Enterprise limited owners. They race under that nom. And Craig McPherson trains, but very impressive run. Set off the fractions, quick fractions. They weren't super quick, the Gambino was setting, but still, this horse looped the field and drew off like a good colt. And he's come back to work conservatively in 104 and 1, but he wasn't really working well, particularly quick going into the race. Obviously getting a nice relaxed early and finishing strongly, which he certainly showed in his race. So on paper, he looks like the best to me. I think Craig's definitely got both. He's got a couple of good shots in here with the 3-horse After Court, a narrow winner over Go for Guinness, and I thought that was a good race. It was just maiden 20, but still the time was good. Sat close to a fast pace. I'm willing to follow him back for Mr. Redicop, and I put the 8-horse Gambino in for third. Had 3 consecutive runner-up efforts, and just ran into a good one at 2-5 last time in Stormin' for Becca. But Gambino's nice too. He just had to battle on the pace, and hopefully that wasn't his best race. If it is, then he's in trouble. I think he's better than that race. I was kind of surprised that he was kind of flat and didn't finish with any energy because he'd run so well the time before in the newest Minster to Bridge Jumper. So I wouldn't want to totally give up on him. I went 4, 3, and 8, but I definitely like Stormin' for Becca.
Yeah, I agree with you, Stormin' for Becca. Actually, the 3 horses that I took all exit the same race. They all ran against each other last time. I have Stormin' for Becca on top, as you mentioned. Looks really good in here. Gambino I have in the 2nd spot. Just got beat by Stormin' for Becca, but you know, as you mentioned, 2nd to Bridge Jumper. Real tough little guy. I like this horse a lot. I have him in 2nd. And 3rd spot, I put Lucky number 5. The horse that set the pace in that race last time. And, you know, kind of wilted at the end. Ended up 4th by 8. But I think with a start under his belt, it's going to be, you know, he's going to get a lot out of that. So he might be able to hang on for 3rd. I went 4, 8, and 5. Similar kind of horses to you, but I did put Lucky number 5 in the 3rd.
Oh, because he is number 5.
He is that.
You got a horse named Lucky number 5, and he finally draws
gets a 5 hole.
That's why I picked Crew Leader. I didn't pick 3-wood because he's got the 6-hole 3-wood. Right. There's some real tricky picking. We do a lot of work on this show.
It's tougher than it looks, folks. We just make it look easy. On to the nightcap. 3-year-olds and up, 3,000, non-winners of 3, and I have gone to the 3. See, there you go. There you go. Brandon's Courage. Horse that broke his maiden for fun earlier on in the year. For 5 when Ruben Lara was here. Just galloped away from him. Broke his maiden by 7. After that race, he kind of went
long one day.
He went long, and he kind of just struggled after that. John turned him out, gave him some time off, brought him back, freshener, and he romps again. Gets his non-2 by 5 3/4.
Yeah, that's huge.
Now this is the perfect spot for him. This is kind of like the only spot, right? The 3 non-3 he just fits perfectly in here. Fernando Perez, who was riding him, ends up on Troy Taylor's horse in here. No surprise there. But John gets Amadeo Perez to take over. No problems there. So I have Brandon's Courage on top. I do have the Troy Taylor runners in 2nd spot. Mr. Instigator. He ran one of those non-2 horses that have not finished 1st, 2nd, or 3rd in the meet this year. And he got beat, which was shocking. But it was kind of a rough go for him. He got put on the lead. They were clipping right along. He'd only had the 1 race before that. That was 3.5. I think now he's coming into kind of his peak race. He should be fit enough. You know, Troy's horses are firing on all cylinders right now. Have him in 3rd spot. And in the 2nd spot, sorry. And in the 3rd spot, I do have another one that Fernando Perez was riding, Quattro's Raider. Tough little guy. When Phil got him, broke his maiden he waited the jail time, broke his maiden for 10, non-2-4, wins that. Comes back in a 7,500 non-3 and just gets beat by Dilwyn, who got the better trip. He was on the outside. Then he went for 7,500, wide open against just 3-year-olds. And there was not a whole lot of pace in that race that day. And he was coming from far back and just couldn't make up any ground, just kind of flattened out. But now the non-3-3 fits him like a glove too. I have him in 3rd spot. Marlo Dunn has been heating up lately. She's been doing very well. Good little rider. No problems with her aboard Quattro's Raider. I have him in 3rd spot. I have 3, 8, 9.
I got the same 3. I don't really have much to add. Brendan's Courage looked great winning that day. Looked like he's going to put forth another good effort. One very easily geared down and 118 flat. I can't see anyone in here that's going to, maybe Mr. Instigator has the potential to win, but just still those 2 races are a little alarming. Losing to Drexel and Hurry on Home in a non-1, 2, 3 of the year for 2,400. I guess the horse can win. And I put the 9 Quattro's Raider, same horse, in for 3rd. Just a little too far back. Only got beat a couple lengths for 2nd as the winner, Pacao, won off by 4 lengths. So a better than looked race on paper. It might get a good pace in here, especially at Brandon's Courage, vying for glory, and the 8 Mr. Instigator hookup. Quattro's Raider could be your off-the-pace horse. I don't think there's a key in here, but I think you need all 3 horses in your pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5s, whatever wagers you like to use. I went 3, 8, and 9 as well. Well, I'll do it for our analysis of the Friday, August 24th program. We'll quickly touch on all of our selections. If you joined in halfway, I will give you a quick little recap of the Friday picks. We'll start with mine. In the first race, I went to the 1 horse, Pineapple. I went 1, 2, and 3. In the second race, I went to the 7, Country Cash, 7, 9, and 6. In the third race, number 2, Tempered Steel. I'm going to try and get a long shot to win the first stakes race on the card. I went 2, 1, and 6. In the fourth race, I went to the 10, Buffalo Babe. I went 10, 7, 9. Race number 5, I went to the 3, Dog Rock, 3, 4, 6. In the sixth race, I went to the 5, Crew Leader. I went 5, 6, and 1. In the seventh race, number 4, Stormin' for Becca. I went 4, 3, and 8. And in the 8th and final, I went to the 3, Brandon's Courage, 3, 8, and 9.
And on to my picks. There we go. The first race, I agree with Mike. The 1, Pineapple over the 2 and the 5. In the second, I went with the 1 again. I got a lot of 1s here. The second, I went with the 1, Ton of Pride over the 7 and 9. In the third, I went with the favorite, number 1, Bamboo Dream over the 6 and the 4. In the fourth, I went with the 9, Private Sally Wilson over the 7 and the 10. In the fifth, the number 3, Dog Rock over the 10 and the 7. In the sixth, again, I'm with Mike. I went with the 5, Crew Leader over the 6 and the 1. In the seventh, the favorite, number 4, Stormin' for Becca over 8 and 5. And in the last, number 3, Brandon's Courage over the 8 and 9.
Well, they did take entries for the Canadian Derby on Wednesday, and a field of 9 for $200,000 signed on, headed by the locally owned Devil in Disguise, owned by the North American Thoroughbred Horse Company, and trained by Troy Taylor, be trained by Dennis Terry out in Alberta. But Devil in Disguise, nice, comfortable winner of the Count Latham, the prep for the Canadian Derby. Boy, did he look good that day. Geared down at the end. It was embarrassing almost watching Mario just looking underneath his arm the whole race. And he won by a length of 3/4, and as we mentioned off the top, could have won by 10.
Could, as many as he wanted to, yeah. Could have opened up on him at any time. Hasn't made a mistake all year. They ran him the once in Hollywood in a grade 3, and he had kind of a rough trip that day. Came back, his first start here, they ran him against older horses. Stormy Canuck was on his game that day. Beat him. Since then,
been pretty nice.
He's been perfect, and every time, it seems like every time it just gets easier for him. A big race like this, there's usually a lot of horses coming from different places. I think this will be the shortest price horse you've seen in the Canadian Derby in some time. There's 2 that come in from
Ontario.
From Toronto, Me and Mike both picked those horses, second and third. We have them flip-flop. But Devil in Disguise just looks like a standout. The horses coming from Toronto don't look like enough to beat him.
Yeah, they're here because Danny Dion, who's from Alberta, who runs under the Bear Stables, campaigns primarily in Ontario right now at Woodbine. But it's great that he brings a couple horses back. Obviously, there's lesser stars, his 3-year-old stars. But Quincy Welch comes back to ride, and Fernando Perez is on the other one. And they're both, if Devil in Disguise slips up a bit, I mean, these are 2 nice, they've been running on the grass, which is a little concern. But I don't mind the 4 space side.
Should get the distance,
And but I went 7, 4, and 9. I just think Devil in Disguise. He's just too good. He's got the races under his belt in Edmonton.
Obviously, very comfortable.
No other
there,
horses. You know, everything else is Up Jumps a Monster, Doug's Buddy. All these horses have been running in Edmonton, but they're not enough. He's been handling them. So the only 2 strangers are the 2 horses coming in from Woodbine, and they're still non-winners of one other than horses. They're not
exactly kind of taking a flyer on them in the second spot because they haven't run against these horses before. Where Devil in Disguise has just been mauling these horses.
So we both agree on the 7-horse Devil in Disguise. We'll give you a quick little. Nice little graphic for the Canadian Derby. Here's my picks. There it is, number 7 for the Canadian Derby on Saturday, August the 25th. There's 13 races, so do check it out. Lots of stakes races on the Northlands program. I went 7, 4, and 9. Speyside in the second spot, and the 9 Bears Taurus in the third spot.
And on to me, I...
flip-flop.
Yeah, pretty much flip-flop. Devil in Disguise, obviously this was like a standout. I took Bears Taurus, the one that Quincy's on, in second, and the one that Fernando's on Speyside in third. 7, 9, and 4.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to this edition of Handicappers Corner. Once again, a 3:20 post for this Friday, August 24th program. And also a reminder, the Canadian Derby Saturday. The next day, Saturday, August 25th, 13 races on their program. Things start early in Edmonton, so lots of local horses, as we mentioned off the top. Dave Forster has 3 runners. Troy Taylor has, or Dennis Terry has a couple. Commander as well as Devil in Disguise in different races. So there's 4 or 5 stakes races on the Northlands Park program.
Perfect place to watch it. Be right here at the Derby.
Right here at the Derby. So come on out. Okay, on behalf of Drew, I've been Mike. Thanks for tuning in to Handicappers Corner, and we'll see you next time here from the Derby Bar and Grill.